Hey folks, back again, and it's late Friday evening, the 6th of October. Yesterday I went and took that midterm. I think I had a better handle on things than I did last semester, which means that I'm hoping that I can at least get a 50 out of 100 on the exam. That might not seem like a good grade, but um, 55% or higher is a C minus in the class, and I'm just essentially trying to pass it. Same thing with the other class I'm retaking. Obviously, I would love to have a B or an A in those classes, but with the fact that I've been doing good on the video quizzes and the other stuff, the online homework or the homework, excuse me. I've been doing relatively well. I have like a B right now in those, and I can get that up to an A in that section, and that'll like pull the grade up. So hopefully, that's kind of like the idea is just to get past these classes because they're the gatekeeper ones, and after that, it's supposed to be like downhill from there. Like you kind of figure things out how they work, and so I did that, but and I'm gonna upload the other videos I have on here. I recorded a few of them because I had like a big revelation concerning the girl, and it really kind of hit me harder. It's one thing to like have rejected a girl. For instance, when you're in a relationship and you're being loyal to your girlfriend, so you're rejecting that girl and have her just around or not necessarily be into you. It's another thing if she's moved on and she's dating another guy, especially someone you know. And that's what happened. And I found that out like I was like it was literally like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. something like that. I just couldn't sleep that night, and I was still talking to that one guy um, from the chemistry department, and he knows both of them. So then he kind of started revealing stuff, and it was just like, oh, and yeah, she has a boyfriend. It's this guy, and I was just like train wrecked by that at that point. But I tried to pull myself together enough, and I talked to my dad, who gives solid advice because he's obviously had his share of this kind of stuff back when he was in college, and the whole girlfriend thing and the whole liking this girl, and she has a boyfriend, or rejection occurs because you're in a relationship or whatever the case may be, and he's married. My mom and him, they're on their first marriage, 35 years strong, and so I go to him for this kind of stuff because he can talk to me rationally from a man's perspective. Obviously, I could ask my sister, I could ask my mother, but I really need like a man's take on things. So I talked to him, and he got me through that. And it was really sucky because it's not just the whole like, oh, I can't be with her, or she's probably like having sex with their guy, and given that I'm waiting until marriage, it's a big no-no, and like I don't want to like end up with a girl like that, and that's whole sort of fact that she's from a Muslim family, this guy's not Muslim, and there's this whole sort of alpha fucks or AFBB. Um, Pardon me if that's considered bad language, but AFBB dynamic going on there. Except that I was basically plan A and I rejected her, so she went to her plan B, and it's like this whole sort of screwed up dynamic there. But essentially, I almost ended up breaking up with my girlfriend because of this, and because she knows like my feelings on this whole deal and that sort of thing. But I repaired things with her, and decided like I really truly choose you, and I'm over. I'm not. My reasons for feeling bad are because I felt like I was toyed with by the other girl who was just trying to break up my relationship with the girlfriend out of spite. Because I'm the American guy dating a Moroccan girl, and how dare this Moroccan girl who's already all the way over in Morocco, how dare she get to have an American boyfriend who's willing and able to travel to see her, and to be honest with you, and this isn't me being arrogant, there's also the fact that since I'm Muslim, I converted way back when I was 13, and I'm for all intents and purposes a white guy. I'm kind of like in that sort of category where these girls who they have their white boy fetish. They want to be like a little bit bad and date outside their race or ethnicity or religion, and kind of be able to rebel against their parents. But they also don't want to feel like sellouts, and they also want to have the kind of guy who they could show to their parents. So there's not that shame and guilt there. I get put in that kind of category, and it's like, okay, this Moroccan girl all the way over from Morocco, she gets to have one of those guys, and this girl really did like me, and obviously my rejection wasn't taken well by her. And of course, I'd also rejected being friends with that guy she ended up dating, so that stuff has been hitting me pretty hard. It takes me a little bit while to process this, but I was able to try to push through and get that exam done and just be focused on that enough. Didn't help that she's retaken that class and she's in the section right before me, so I walk in there and she's there, and she obviously saw me looking at her. I looked at her. I couldn't help but checking her out because she's pretty physically attractive. That's putting it lightly, which of course also exacerbates the feelings concerning her being with the other guy. But it's like I had my chance. I had my chance. I could have just dumped the girlfriend I was with and gone for her. Maybe we would have been together. Maybe she would have broken up with me. Maybe she would have rejected me. And things of that nature. But it's like I gotta deal with the fact that I had my chance and I didn't take it. And it's like, well, that's tough luck, bud. Tough luck. That's life. But it's really made me like feel like going back to dang it. Falls on these things. Anxiety, I feel. But it made me feel like going back to PMO, but you realize it's not gonna do you any good. It's gonna make you feel worse because I would end up. I think I did say this in some other videos that I made, that ones that I'll upload, but I'm kind of reiterating it. It would mean me going to the kind of content that reminds me of the girl, and it's that whole cuckold feel. Like if you break up with your girlfriend, she goes with another guy, and you start watching stuff that reminds you of her, or you look at pictures of her, maybe in videos of you guys being together or whatever, and you do it to that. It's like you're reminded not only of what you've lost, but what the other guy is getting. And I didn't want the brain fog. I didn't want the increased anxiety and depression and so on. I wanted to hold on to what I've gotten. And technically speaking, I have had sort of the, and you'll if you watch those other videos like that I will upload with this, I did have what I call a hard mode relapse where I looked at some pornography, but I didn't fap and I didn't edge to it. I got myself out of that situation right before like I would have slipped into it and gotten going that way. But even then, the effects have not been as bad, because I didn't do the full gamut, so to speak. No emming, no owing, just the porn subsessor deal. But even then, like, there was some negative effects from that, and I realized like it wouldn't be worth it. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to solve my problem. It's just me trying to self-medicate because I feel like crap. And in many ways, I deserve to feel like crap because, like I said, like I'm sure she probably felt like I had led her on, and I just got like really emo and negative and just like kind of. Last time we talked, I ran into the student services building. This was like months ago, and I was like having to go there to do these assigned study hours because of being on probation. And I saw her there, and it was really weird to see her there, and it was just really, really embarrassing because like the reason I was there was, oh, you screwed up the last semester, you're on probation, you have to do these study hours, and we'll be treating you like a child, and monitoring you. And I'm like, I was like 30 years old at that time. It was before I turned 31 this year, and it's like I'm 30 years old and I'm still having this stuff happen, like feeling like crap about that. And so I was just kind of like short with her, and that was right after I'd, for all intents and purposes, asked her out, and she was kind of like iffy on that. But then I guess she figured out, wait, he's asking me out and he's interested, and it just, that kind of stuff goes through my mind because that was a time in my life when I didn't have to make any real efforts. Like nowadays I would have to be like making so many efforts to get her back if I was really going for that. And all this stuff has really made me to appreciate my girlfriend even more because she's never made me feel like this. Sure, I've had my anxiety and my depression, you could say, or my worries with her, but it's never been like this. It's never been between me and some other guy, and definitely not a non-Muslim guy. Not one of those, oh, I want a bad boy and you're a good guy, so therefore maybe after I'm done having my fun, shack up with you to get some money from you or whatever. And it's never been like that with her. She's wanted to be with me from the get-go, and she is such that, I mean, she's had marriage offers from other guys and she's turned them down, even though, like, those guys were, you know, loaded, let's just put it that way. Like, they could have given her the best, you know, life materially speaking that she could ever have, and, you know, she said, you know, I don't want anyone else, I want you. And she's gorgeous. My girlfriend's just gorgeous, but it's been like this whole temptation deal, and I think the fundamental reason, well, one of the fundamental reasons why I was so tempted with this girl and why I still feel these ways is, well, if there's one thing that's there is that, since this other girl is Moroccan, it's almost like maybe subconsciously I thought, oh, my girlfriend's here, missing my girlfriend so much, this girl's here, you know, almost like she would stand in for the girlfriend, or she would be the girlfriend, and even though my rational mind recognized that this is not the girl, you know, so there's that whole conflict there. And then, of course, and I know right now it's kind of like I'm reiterating this because, you know, I remember in my previous videos I did talk about this, the ones that I haven't uploaded yet, but there's the whole deal with, like, if this girl and I ended up together, I would feel like I fit in. I would feel like I belonged. That's one of my biggest struggles in life. Probably one of the reasons why I've gotten so much into PMO, because I could feel like I was in a place where I was wanted, desired, and I belonged, you know? And the girl in question would be the one giving me that feeling of belonging, you know, being wanted, desired, needed, that sort of thing. And it feels like if I had ended up with this other girl, and that would be predicated on, you know, for one thing, like not having a girlfriend or being willing and able to end it with a girlfriend. But I would have had my place in the group, and she would have been the one, you know, giving me that place basically. And I would have felt like, you know, like one of the guys, really. Like, even when I study in that chemical engineering room, which I'm not doing that anymore, I'm ghosting from there. But when I was studying there, and pretty much everyone in that room is like, they are senior year now. They didn't fail any of those classes. They are graduating this next spring in all likelihood, unless something majorly horrible happens to them, like they get sick or something. But they're all together in there, and I'm like the odd man out. Like, they know who I am, I know who they are, but I'm like one of the rejects, you know? And the guy she's dating is one of the guys who made the senior year. So, you know, it's kind of like the female hypergamy principle. It worked, and it's like I could have perhaps delayed it. Perhaps I could have overcome it, but I chose not to, and she's with that guy now, and it's like, you know, that sort of feeling, this exacerbated of being this failure, this reject, this loser. And, you know, like I said, it feels like if I ended up with her, that wouldn't be there. You know, I'd be in like Flynn, and given that I'm also Muslim, and her being Muslim, it's kind of like I would have that little aspect there. It's kind of like I would have the perfect mix of being the American guy, so she can say I have an American boyfriend, but also being Muslim, so hey, maybe he's marriage potential, you know? And she's probably the most attractive woman in that whole group of engineering students, which, again, really hits you, because, again, I could have been that guy who had the most attractive woman in the room. But I will have to live with that. And, you know, it's something that shouldn't be so hard, because it's not like I'm single, you know, it's not like I broke up with my girlfriend or got dumped and then the other girl decided in the meantime to get with another guy, and there I am, you know, I broke up with my girlfriend over you and you're not interested in me anymore, like, what the heck, you know, it's not like that situation. I still have my girlfriend, and you know, I really do appreciate her. I saw she put some photos up on Facebook, and there's a bunch of photos, like this whole collage of our photos of us together, and the caption was "My soul" with a heart, referring to me. And it's like, wow, you don't find women like that often. The ones who are gorgeous, who are smart, who are all these things and more, and they still want to be with you. Someone who's otherwise, otherwise considered a loser. Because in terms of the whole hierarchy, dominance hierarchy, like I'm really not that close to the top. Like, I'm not. And she's the kind of girl. I'm gonna show you some photos of her. So I want to do this without revealing any identities. So I'm gonna try to get the one that I consider like the best photo, and I will put it in a paint.net file. I know that might seem like all paranoid or whatever, but one of the things with this channel is that since it's a Nofap channel and I'm really like going through all this stuff, dealing with issues that I have, I get into a lot of personal things. And sometimes like 50% of me thinks that if certain people found out, it would actually do me some real good. It would explain like why I am the way I am and why this happened or that happened. But the other 50% is like, dude, like, it's just gonna embarrass you, I know the folks who follow me, like, they most likely like are not from that group of people, but let's show you the photo. See if I can, if it's around. This is her, and that's me, of course. That's us together doing my first trip, and of course, me again, and yeah, she's gorgeous. I'm actually pretty dang lucky, to be honest with you. Like, she might not be the whole like female engineering student, all that kind of stuff, but I'm very lucky because she's got the looks that she could have any guy she wanted, and I know that for a fact. Like, she's had at least like I think it's actually more like 2 to 3, maybe 4 marriage proposals if I remember correctly from other guys, and of course they don't know about us, but if she was really like a totally screwed up person, she could totally nix me, abandon me, disappear on me, and just go off and marry one of those guys and get out of her parents' home. But it's like she's not like that. And I have a feeling with the other girl that she is like that. She's probably banking on this guy. He's Swedish. He's like a foreign exchange student, but she's probably banking on him graduating this next semester, spring semester, and either nabbing a job in the U.S. or nabbing a job over in Sweden, and then maybe she can go and disappear with him and run away from her family, and if that fails, then she'll just try to find some Muslim guy. And I know she knows that I feel the way I feel. I've reacted or acted certain ways around her, and I've also told a couple people how it felt because I was just bottling up inside, and I'm sure they probably like mentioned something to her, or she just caught the vibe from me, and if it came down to it, I might be made quote unquote plan B again, in the future, especially if I got my act together and she somehow got the idea that I'm not mentally unstable, So, but that's what I've been dealing with, and those are like kind of the things that, I realize if you're an addict that when the negativity in your life, can overwhelm you, or ends up overwhelming you, then that's when you might end up relapsing. Might end up going back to the thing that you are supposedly trying to get away from, because it's not about merely abstaining. It's about developing the kind of life and life pattern and habits and so on that are such that not only do you know how to cope with the negativity far better in a far more skillful manner, but your life is such that it doesn't have that kind of negativity, or at least not the level of it, that your life actually improves so that you just don't have the desire to go back to that bad habit that you're using to cope. Um, but I have another exam on Wednesday and then one on Thursday. And I really gotta get ready for this. So, see, 5 days until the one on Wednesday and 6 days until the one on Thursday. So, I think that's sufficient time for me to get ready. And at least one of them is one of the ones that I took last semester, so I have an idea of what she's gonna put on there. And the kinds of questions she's going to ask. So, I'm going to put in time for that. But one thing I am doing from now on is I'm ghosting from that chemical engineering. I know that's where she goes. That's where her, for all intents and purposes, boyfriend goes. And I know, in all honesty, like I just have to avoid this kind of stimuli because it's kind of like my mind is like a pond, and waters are cool and placid, and I'm able to focus. But then something comes along that really like chucks a rock into the waters, and I can handle um, the process of of going through the processing those emotions. But it's like I'm in a environment and in a way where I can't afford that. So I have to go either way. I stay at home and I study at home, or I go to the library and I go to the silent floor. I just make a beeline for there and I just do my stuff there, and I avoid that group of people and that location, because even like walking by her and that guy sitting, like they were sitting at this one point, they were sitting kind of in this entryway to this one room and like across from each other, talking with each other, and she says something along the lines of, "Oh, I'll help you fulfill your life's greatest dreams," or whatever. And I don't know if she was talking about some other subject or saying this guy said this or that girl said that, or I really like this line from this poem or whatever the heck, or she was saying that literally to him, that she was gonna be with him and forever, and I'll help you, whatever the case may be. But it's like for instance that experience of them together and her saying that, facing him, like that just kind of triggered all these emotions in my mind, and that kind of coursed through my head and through my body. And I know I can't have that kind of stuff happen. I just can't. And it means ghosting. It means going through a period where I just kind of burn the mental bridges in my head between myself and her and focus myself on other things, because come what may, in all likelihood they will break up. In all likelihood they won't stay together because for a number of reasons. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I feel in many ways she's lost to me and I'm lost to her. And even if I ended up getting dumped or breaking up with my girlfriend and she was single again and she came back and was interested and heard about me or whatever the case may be, it's just kind of like the taint would always be there. The taint of the other guy and what they probably did, because he's not Muslim. He doesn't have the kind of hang-ups that a lot of Muslim guys have, especially practicing Muslim guys. And she's obviously has her daddy issues, looking for her bad boy to give her father the middle finger, and because he obviously wouldn't want her with him in all likelihood, even with his whole earning potential garbage and whatnot. The fact that he's not Muslim and things of that nature, and that taint would be there on her. The taint of what happened between us, which wasn't necessarily major. I didn't get into any argument with her. There was no scream fest. There was no, problem like that. But, there's still that whole sort of like failed connection, if you will. But, it's life, and I'll be ghosting from them, and I will be just focusing my energy on my classes, because even if I banged up that first midterm a bit, I can recover from that. But I gotta save my other classes. Well, I've gotta, well, not save them, but I have to make sure they turn out all right, because anything less than that, in the long run, even if her and I were meant to be together or whatever, in the long run, the only way that would ever work out is if I get my act together and I end up rising up, and she sees that and my girlfriend sees that, and they, whichever it's my girlfriend or the other girl, they end up with, they see that I'm rising and I'm going somewhere, and then I have value. So, um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go out and get something to drink, maybe some Gatorade or so. I've been losing some serious weight, and it's probably a combination of the anxiety, the sleep deprivation, the fact that I only eat like one meal a day, or I take one meal and I split it into 2 meals. But I'm back down to 179.6 pounds, and that means I'm within my BMI now. But ideal weight I want to aim for again is like 160, and if I get to 160, I might want to drop to 150, and then like maybe bulk up 10 to 15 pounds. Hopefully, that'll mostly be muscle in that case. But I think there's other things. I have been struggling to focus on classes because of this sort of stuff. It always makes me feel like hope is lost and that things have lost their value. But like thinking on some of Alex Hughes' comments and such, I gotta find value for myself and for these things in a source other than a woman. And it's not just a woman, any other person for that matter. And in large part, Nofap really is about that. Because so much of the reason guys fat and why they watch pornography is they got rejected by some girl or multiple women, and they feel like garbage, and they want to simulate the feeling of having succeeded in that whole rat race. And it gets extremely addicting because like that's like what you're chasing after, that feeling of having succeeded with a girl. And so much of civilization is really just the result of men sublimating their sexual desires for women and into other things, in part to gain female attention. If you can master a STEM field, let's say, get that degree, land that six-figure job, now you're suddenly valuable. You can provide so much benefit, so much of the good stuff, and you can kind of, depending upon what you're willing to accept, you can exchange that for sex, intimacy, children, for the companionship of a woman. If you go and you work out, you lose that fat, you build that muscle, you get bulked up and built and ripped, and cut and all that. You can exchange that for the companionship of a woman, sex, intimacy, children, especially if you can turn that into a business of sorts and, make some decent money off of it, and if you can invent the next big thing and make, a mint off of that, again, you can exchange those resources and status for the companionship of a woman. And for most guys, that's why they do what they do. Why they strive so hard, why they get up in the morning and they gotta go have their routine. They have to become successful, because to become successful equals getting the girlfriend, getting the hot girlfriend, getting the hot wife, getting the kids, as your posterity, as your inheritance, your heirs, getting them as in you get with the woman and you have children with her, and that gives them purpose and it makes them feel valued because they're needed, But, as we know, those of us in Nofap, that kind of mentality is very dangerous, and that's so much of what contributes to a porn addiction, You feel worthless, you feel rejected, you feel unwanted and undesired, and you want to feel desired, wanted, not rejected. You want to feel accepted, you want to feel worthy, and you simulate those feelings, you self-medicate those issues of underlying problems with PMO. And that's why it becomes an addiction. You don't gotta do the hard work, you don't gotta go through the blood, sweat, and tears. You can just go fire up a porno video and fap to it, you know. And it's like heroin in terms of its effects on the brain. It's not like heroin in the sense that, you know, like a real drug addict who has to work for their drugs, but it has those effects. So, anywho, or at least many of the same effects, as per brain scans and things of that nature. But anywho, that's it for me now. It's been a lot to carry for the last week. Dang, last few weeks actually. But I'm getting through it, and I'm not going to give up, and I will succeed. I'm going to rise from this, as I hope all of us will rise from our problems in life, conquer them, and succeed. Because you know, I really wish the best for all you folks out there, that you do succeed. Because I've come to know a number of you folks. The two Alexes. I think Fitzgerald, aka 24/7, Sunrise Warrior, some others. You know, Matt's what it is, and you know, I want to see those guys become happy and fulfilled and successful, because you know, they're in my estimation some of the good guys out there, and they've helped me just by even providing support and like camaraderie. You know, Evan Storming, I want to see him succeed. You know, on and on. Just all these folks, all my subscribers, all 50 of them right now as it stands. Even the ones who were subscribing and unsubscribed, you know, I want them to succeed as well. I think if the world was filled with more happiness and fulfillment, less jealousy and envy and sadness and anger and frustration and depression, sadness, whatever. You know, I repeat myself there, but if the world had less of that, it would just be a heck of a lot better for all of us, you know. So, wishing you guys the best. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. Thanks, you know, beyond whatever I can express in words, for the support, because it helps to not feel alone, and to not feel like people don't understand you or respect you, or respect what you're going through. So thanks, and I'll see you folks around. Bye.